David, just your thoughts on the match?
Oh, listen, it's straightforward. We weren't good enough tonight. If I look at the start of the first half, it was as poor as we've been. We always talk to the players about momentum and how the game feels at certain points. There was obviously the elements weren't particularly great. We're playing against a strong wind. We've tried to continue to play the way we normally would do, which is what we normally encourage. But technically, at the moments we were trying to play through pressure, we weren't good enough to manage that at that point. The momentum gradually built to a point where almost every time we tried to do that, we almost gave up a chance. And as I say, momentum starts to build in such a way, and Hearts obviously get a goal, and it gets the second one quite after that from the set play. Momentum goes to such a point where it becomes a little bit erratic and frantic, and it's certainly the opposite of what the guys have been, certainly in the recent weeks. So, or the games leading up to this one. So that's obviously frustration, and we're trying to get to that point of saying, okay, when the game is feeling such a way, we need to change what we do and play in different areas and make the game about certain areas of the pitch to try and either take the game away from where we were playing, particularly with the way the wind was, or at least make them think about defending in their half of the pitch. So ultimately not good enough with the ball, not playing the right areas in relation to where the game was, we were getting trapped, and get punished off the back of it.
Yeah, how disappointing was the manner of the goals that you conceded?
Well, listen, very. The first one, I think the lads swilled from the edge of the box, we've knocked at the block. The second one comes to a corner, which sometimes happens, and it's not necessarily down to anything other than just not getting the first contact when the ball lands in the box. And the third one, from their point of view, would be seen as a good goal because they've managed to play through the line of our back line. So, again, I'll go back to it. The goals come off the back of the way the game was building. We kept trying to play in spaces that either weren't there, or if they were there and we got in those moments, we weren't good enough at that time. And listen, these guys have been. If you look over again the way we have been playing, we've got to those areas. They've managed to break the pressure. They've escaped the pressure by playing 1 and 2 touches, or dribbling through it, and we've not done that tonight. So when that happens, and as I say, you keep giving up opportunities, then at some point you will get punished, and we did. Second half, I thought we started well. I thought we built a momentum. We scored relatively early. It felt like we were getting a grip of the game. We didn't sustain it as often as long as we would like to. We probably rushed things a bit quicker than we needed to. And that's when obviously we were playing with the strong wind, and we tried to go over the space. Naturally, the wind's going to take out the pitch, so that naturally again takes away the feeling of sustained pressure. So that becomes, the lads naturally feel a bit frustrated because we're not building the game in their half of the pitch and being patient. But when we got in those moments, we needed to work the keeper more. So there's a number of different things that we'll talk about, but I say technically we can't rely on that. If that's not worked for us tonight, then it's that then a bit about, okay, being a bit more thoughtful what the next decision could be to try and play somewhere else, and then just that edge to try and make sure, okay, there's a little bit of making sure we win our individual battles. We go against the one you're directly against, and make sure that you make sure you get the better of that one for a period of the game to try and change the way the game was. Say second half, you scored maybe the second one a little bit earlier, then you've got a bit more time to go after, but we didn't, and ultimately the game gets to a point where it's too far away from us.
Yeah, if you take the second half in isolation, was it just a case of that goal not coming directly after Aaron's? It did obviously stymie the momentum.
Like I said to you, I thought we started well the second half, but we didn't sustain it long enough. And ultimately, the feeling of pressure, we talk about momentum. If you keep the pressure, you play the game in their half. You don't necessarily rush to get to the end kind of outcome, but you have to make sure you work the goalkeeper more often than what we did, and we didn't do that often. If we rushed things, it went out the pitch. Naturally, the wind was taken in that direction, and that takes away, and it makes it easier for Hearts to regroup and start the game and start build the game from where they are. So. We let them off the hook in those moments, and that's down to us to try and understand that, as I said, we talk about technical and then tactical understanding, but there's a mindset there as well to try and make better decisions, to try and make sure we get better outcomes, but we didn't do it. And as I said to me, you're 3-0 down, and you don't try and find a way to get better outcomes at the right time, then naturally it's more difficult.